Good evening, baseball fans. Who is ready for the playoffs? Let's get to it. And good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? Hello in the chat. What is going on? A lot of familiar faces. How is everyone doing? CRaz951, one of our members, is here. Hello. Boba Fett himself is here. How you doing? Robert Sharpton, how you doing, my friend? Hello. Agres Seja, he's pulling for a Dodgers championship this year. How we doing? Houston is here. The state of Houston is here. How we doing? Joseph Sloan, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? Orlando is here. Hello. Who else we got here? Nicholas, one of our moderators, is here. Thank you, Nicholas, for coming on out. Nicholas, I got to say, you've been one of the MVPs this year, my friend. One of the MVPs. Thank you for all you do. Chris Widener, hello, my friend. Hope all is well. Who else we got in here? We got B.O.B. Bob himself is here. How are we doing? Who else we got in here? Jared Cole is here. Quan, hello. Lewis S., how you doing? Oh, man, I'm trying to see any more people in here. Man, oh, man. Carla Sanchez, final power rankings. Deserve a hot dog beer. Just saying. I agree. We got to get the hot dog beers. Hot dog beers for everyone. All righty, everyone. What's going on? How you doing? Hope everyone's having a good week so far. And now is the time to really get into some playoff baseball. The regular season every single year just feels like a grind. You have your high moments. You have opening day. Then it feels like you kind of settle in for a little bit. Then you got the All-Star break. Then you got the trade deadline. And then it kind of settles back down for a little bit. And then that last couple of weeks of September, I mean, even arguably the last week of September is usually when people start to rise from the dead and say, oh, hey, playoff baseball is here. Okay, it's time to start paying attention to some baseball. And here we are. It is time to get into the postseason. And honestly, I'm really excited for this wild card round. I was kind of thinking earlier, I'm going over my predictions. I will have those up tomorrow. I was just looking at, just the bracket and everything. I'm like, hey, first time we're getting this wild card round. I know we had that weird playoff bracket in 2020 or whatever. But, I'm excited for these 3-game series. I think it adds a lot of intrigue. Sure, there's a couple of teams where I think, they got lucky getting in. But, hey, sometimes that's all you need to get lucky. I feel like this postseason is pretty up in the air. Personally, I think there are some teams where you're going to have a lot of people, favoring teams like the Dodgers, the Astros, definitely the Braves as well. You're going to have a lot of Mets picks in there. I'm sure you're going to have a few Cardinals picks, a few Yankee picks in there as well. But honestly, I feel like this is a pretty tough postseason to predict. Honestly, I mean, every single postseason is hard to predict. I mean, whoever gets it fully right, sure, you get a couple of people out there get it right, but it's always tough to predict the postseason. Why? Because postseason baseball, you can look at all the numbers you want in the regular season, but it's almost like a new season when you turn the page. You could have a team ice cold heading into the postseason, and all of a sudden they just get hot. I mean, look at my Red Sox last year. They had to fight and claw their way into the postseason going into the very last day of the year, and then all of a sudden they're in the American League Championship Series, 2 wins away from the World Series. You never know what can happen. So, a lot of the times it just really depends on the matchups. It really depends on, maybe if a guy is slumping, maybe a few extra swings in the cage can maybe get him going. You never know what could happen in postseason baseball, but it is going to be fun, and I'm excited for it, even though my Red Sox are not here. Red Sox next year, they'll be in the World Series. You don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I'm not. But we have 101 people to start things off, so I might as well just do my annoying cheap plugs while I am at it. Here we go. If you are new to the chat, and just finding my channel. Think about subscribing. We are within 500 subscribers of 27,000. We're actually almost within 400 subscribers. So think about subscribing down below if you are new to the channel. Hit that like button, everyone. YouTube likes the like button more than ever. So please hit that like button for me. It's going to help people get in here for the final power rankings of the year. Hit the bell notification as well. That way you know every single time I go live, especially over the next month. I will be doing a lot of live streams over the next month, doing post-game recaps, usually towards the end of the night when all games have gone final. So definitely make sure you have that bell notification hit. That way you can see my dopey face talk about some postseason baseball every single night. Everyone, share the stream while you can. Go share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, Facebook. Go tell your aunt down the road. Go tell your dog. Tell them all to get in here for the final power rankings. Also, everyone, as always, got to plug the sponsors for tonight's show. We are partners with SeatGeek. Someone used my code this past week. Well, actually, a few people used the code this past week. So definitely take advantage of it. Use my code HYDE. You get $20 off your first purchase. I mean, if you're going to go to a postseason game, I mean, you might as well use my code, save every single buck you can, because those postseason tickets, they're a little pricey. But hey, you can use it for anything. You can use it for football, basketball's coming up here soon. I mean, whatever. Go to a concert. I don't know, whatever the heck you want. Use my code HYDE. You get $20 off. Also, if you're into the sports betting game, check out Prize Picks. If you're sick of FanDuel, if you're sick of DraftKings and whatever else, go check out Prize Picks. You play the over-unders, and if you use my code GINGER, you'll get a 100% deposit max. You could deposit $50, and they will give you $50 if you just type in my code. Alrighty, everyone. Also, don't forget, 109 of you in here right now, in case you haven't heard me talk about this, myself and Ellis Burks are now co-hosting the Believe in Red Sox podcast. We have done 2 episodes together so far, and if you haven't seen those, go check those out. We had a good conversation the other night. Actually, a pretty long conversation. I didn't even realize we went that long. We went almost about an hour and 45 minutes the other night, and my goodness, I was just really into what we were talking about. Next thing you know, it's almost 2 hours. So Ellis Burks, it's awesome having him on the show. So definitely go check it out. And tune in this coming Monday. We will be talking some more Red Sox baseball. And also, you know, with the postseason, I'm sure we're going to talk about some Red Sox postseason moments. So you definitely want to tune in to that. All right, everyone, let's get to it here. So the final power rankings of 2022. It has been a very interesting season, honestly. It's been a fun season. It's had, as a Red Sox fan, I gotta say, anytime your team is losing, it's never a fun year. It feels like you're just trying to make it until the end of the year. It feels like you're just in a dogfight just to make it when you're just doing so poorly as a team. You're just trying to survive, right? And we finally made it today. Xander Bogaerts getting a standing ovation today. Who knows if he ends up coming back to the Red Sox next year? I really do hope so. I'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But it's just been an interesting year. It's been a fun year. Another amazing trade deadline. A lot of high moments. A lot of history. That's what I really liked about this last month. I mean, 2 players, Albert Pujols, Aaron Judge, just completely setting the world on fire, but making history in the process. And that's really given it like that nostalgic kind of a feel. And I always love that. I love when records are broken, especially records like that with Roger Maris. That's pretty prestigious, honestly. And obviously with Albert Pujols as well, getting into the 700 club. But it's just been an amazing story with Albert Pujols as well. Just seeing what he's been basically the entire Cardinals offense for the last month. He's been absolutely amazing. It's been crazy to see what he's done. But overall, you've had a lot of fun moments this year. The Juan Soto trade, just crazy to me still. You know, the fact that even happened. In the end, yeah, sure, my Red Sox didn't get very far this year, but it was overall a very fun season. Anyway, let's get to it here, everyone. We're closing in on 130 people in the chat. So here we go. Let's get to the power rankings. I got to get the music on. Just give me 1 second here. Of course, I forgot to get the music ready. I mean, of course I would forget to get the music ready. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure the volume is good to go. I don't want it to be too loud. Okay, perfect. There we go. Here we go. 1 second. Why is this not loading? Oh my goodness. Everyone, I was doing so good there. And all of a sudden, it's just, everything's falling apart here. There we go. Okay, all right. We're finally getting some magic here. Spotify is finally working for me. Finally. Here we go. Okay, sharing the screen. But before I actually do start off with the power rankings, just in case you have not seen the postseason bracket, it is set. Everything is done. Everything is set in stone in the American League. We have the Rays. We have the Guardians going up in one wild card series. And actually, am I sharing my screen? What is going on right now? Oh, I see why I'm not sharing the screen. Here we go. There we go. All righty. There we go. Okay, we're all good to go here, everyone. We're good to go. Tice Thompson, yes, my predictions will be posted tomorrow. I wanted to do them tonight, but, you know, I was just like, it's almost 9 o'clock, so I'll probably just do them tomorrow morning. But, yeah, be on the lookout for those, everyone. My predictions will be up tomorrow. DuBois Z, yes, it is a Fangraphs t-shirt, and I actually got this on Breaking Tees. Very comfy shirt, feels very nice. I love me some Fangraphs. So, here is the postseason bracket, everyone. On one side of the American League wildcard round, you have the Rays and the Guardians. I think this could be a really fun series. I really do. The Mariners and the Blue Jays also, I think, could be an extremely fun series. I could see both of those maybe going 5 games. I could definitely see the Mariners and the Blue Jays going 5. I'm going to be honest with you, everyone. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to dive more into this in a little bit. I'm starting to like the Cleveland Guardians a little bit. I'm just saying, they're playing really well lately. And when you look at the numbers, I'll dive more into those numbers lately. They're very solid. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Cleveland Guardians in these playoffs. I'm just going to say that right now. And then the Yankees and the Astros getting the byes. And over in the National League in the wild card round, you get the Phillies and the Cardinals. That is an intriguing series to me. You know, because the Phillies, they have the talent, but the Cardinals just have a good team, you know, so it's going to be interesting to see which team shows up for both. The Phillies, it seems like they have good numbers, but they can never fully put together those wins. And then the Cardinals, you know, sometimes they can get a little cold on you, and sometimes they can just get red hot. So it'll be interesting. I think both are good teams. I think that could actually be a pretty underrated series here. You know, with Adam Wainwright, Miles Michaelis going for the Cardinals. You have Jose Quintana as well over there, along with Jordan Montgomery. And with the Phillies, obviously, you know, got 2 studs in Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. Ranger Suarez has already been announced for Game 3. So I think that's a pretty intriguing series. But I think the one series that, well, you know, unless you're a fan of your own team, but I think the general public will be paying attention to this Padres-Mets series. That is a star-studded matchup. I mean, you got stars all over the place in this series and a lot of good starting pitching. I'm going to be honest with you. I think either of those teams could move on to the Dodgers. I mean, I think the Padres could definitely beat the Mets, and I definitely think the Mets could beat the Padres. I think that's a really close series. Would not be surprised at all if that goes a full 3. And I'm going to be honest with you. I know the Padres, they have not had a lot of luck against the Dodgers, but I don't care about the regular season. Whatever you do in the regular season, who cares? Throw it out the window. If the Padres can make it to that division round, I'm telling you, with that starting pitching, I like the Padres starting pitching a little bit better than the Dodgers in that first round. In a playoff series, I really do. I'm just saying, man, I like the Padres starting pitching. And of course, I like the Mets, you know, with Scherzer and DeGrom as well. That is going to be a really interesting matchup. I'm very excited for it. So, and then obviously the Braves and, like I mentioned, the Dodgers as well have the byes in the first round. So we will get to those predictions tomorrow, so make sure you're on the lookout for those. I'm hoping to post them early. Jared Cole, what is going on? Call me Sleeping Beauty because I'm sleeping on Cleveland. I'm just saying, Jared, you got to watch out for Cleveland, man. You got to watch out for Cleveland. They're really good. I'm just saying. I'll talk more about Cleveland here in just a little bit. But let's get to the power rankings here, everyone. Last time we did the power rankings, it's actually been a little while since we went live with the power rankings. The last episode that I did, I actually pre-recorded them. I got caught up with some work stuff, so I wasn't able to go live that night, so I ended up recording them that next morning. And these were the power rankings for the last time. We had the Dodgers, Astros, Mets, Braves, and the Cardinals in the top 5. And rounding out the top 10, we had the Yankees, Guardians, Blue Jays, Padres, and the Mariners. And then rounding out the top 15, we had the Rays, Phillies, Brewers, Orioles, and the Giants. Let's see what ends up happening here. These are the final power rankings. So this is it, everyone. This is it. This does not mean, you know, whoever the number one team is, that doesn't mean that I think that team is going to win the World Series. That's not what I'm saying at all. These are just the power rankings for the regular season. So let's get to it here. Coming in at number 30, the worst team of 2022, the Washington Nationals. So not a whole lot for the Washington Nationals this year. Obviously, the big Juan Soto trade, trading Josh Bell as well. Not a whole lot going on. They're trying to rebuild that farm, but Joey Meneses, a very fun year for him. Nice to see a journeyman minor leaguer really having some success in the major leagues. And I think I'm going to be paying attention to him for next year. I hope he keeps it up. CJ Abrams, he came over in the Juan Soto trade. He had a couple of good moments with the Nationals, so definitely got to keep an eye out for him next year. And they just got some other younger guys. The pitching was just awful this year. But someone like a Josiah Gray, definitely keep an eye out for him. Let's see if he can take a step forward next year. But the Nationals are my worst team of 2022. Coming in number 29, I got the Pittsburgh Pirates, kind of like the Nationals. You got a lot of young players to be excited about. Ke'Bryan Hayes, not a whole lot with the bat this year, but defensively, fantastic. He was one of the best defensive players in all of Major League Baseball. O'Neal Cruz, 17 homers over 86 games. Jack Sawinski hit 19 himself. The slash line could be better. Let's see if he can improve on that next year. And then you had some pitching. Mitch Keller, Roansy Contreras, they showed some promise this year. I'm hoping that the Pittsburgh Pirates pitching can get even better next year. And don't forget, you got some other prospects. You got Quinn Priester, Leover Peguero. You got Nick Gonzalez down there as well that you could see next year. I think the Pirates could be an interesting team next year. Could they have maybe some kind of Baltimore Orioles magic for next year? We'll have to wait and see. Up next, I got the Oakland A's. Oakland, not a whole lot to talk about, really. They're really trying to rebuild that farm, and I wonder if they look to trading Sean Murphy, who had a really good season. He was a 5-win player this year, one of the better catchers in the game. I definitely think you could see him be traded. We'll have to wait and see. Seth Brown, he had 25 home runs this year, pretty solid. But the one thing that I'm paying attention to with the A's is actually off the field. What's going to happen here with the ballpark? A couple of days ago, Rob Manfred said they need to find a way to get a deal done as soon as possible. Right now, talks are pending. It doesn't really seem like you got a firm answer of whether or not they're going to get a new ballpark in Oakland or not. They still have talks going on with Las Vegas. Going to be an interesting offseason for the Oakland A's. Kansas City Royals coming up next at number 27. Bobby Wick Jr. with a decent rookie season. He's only going to get better. Michael Massey, MJ Melendez, they're looking to contribute more in 2023. They had some pretty decent seasons this year. Even Drew Waters showed some promise this year. He came over in that trade with the Braves. But in the end, they need more starting pitching. Let's see what the Royals can do for next year. At number 26, rounding out the bottom tier, we got the Cincinnati Reds. But you know what? I know the Reds are down here in the bottom tier, but man, I am really excited about some of the things going on with the Cincinnati Reds. Nick Lodolo looked absolutely fantastic this year. Hunter Green as well, showing a lot of velocity this year, a lot of strikeouts for him. Very excited for those two in the rotation for next year. You got a lot of young stars in this farm as well. Ellie De La Cruz, Noelvi Marte, Matt McClain, Spencer Steer even showed a little bit of promise this year. And then some other guys like Brandon Williamson, Andrew Abbott. Could we see them in the majors next year? Hey, it's looking a little, lame right now for the Reds, but they got a lot of young players to be excited about, so keep an eye on them. At number 25, I can't believe that I was going to be putting this team here at this point. The Detroit Tigers, a very disappointing season. They were dead last in offense this year. They were a little better over the last month, 16th overall. But Javier Baez was an absolute bust of a signing this year. Should have just gotten Carlos Correa. Spencer Torkelson ended up getting sent back down to the minors at one point. Riley Green had some exciting defensive plays, but you're looking for more offense from the both of those. I think they both will do more offensively next year. Jonathan Scope, he played great defense this year. He's one of the better defensive players in Major League Baseball this year, but nothing with the bat. They need some upgrades, I think, for the Tigers. Just keep trying to upgrade this team as much as you can. I think the Tigers, look out for them next year. I know they were pretty much forgotten about this year, but I think that's a team. Add a couple more pieces. I think they could be right back into it. Eduardo Rodriguez, that was a guy they brought in, and he ended up disappearing for a little while there. So hopefully Eduardo Rodriguez, he can get back to being more consistent next year. I think the Tigers, there's still a lot of promise with this team. Even coming into this year, I weren't sure if they were fully quite there yet anyway. So let's see what they can do in the offseason. At number 24, we got the Miami Marlins. I think the story of the Marlins this year was Sandy Alcantara. He was absolutely fantastic. But the starting pitching over the last month was actually really solid overall. 9th in Fangraph WAR. They were 12th all year. I know Sandy Alcantara has been the guy for the Marlins this year. But listen, Jesus Luzardo, Braxton Garrett, Edward Cabrera, they showed promise this year. Love me some Jesus Luzardo. I hope he's back to just being, what we saw fully with the A's, and hope he's making 30 starts next year. Trevor Rogers, really good season last year, not a great one this year. Let's see what he can do in 2023. What do you do with Pablo Lopez in the offseason? Pretty interested about that. I would imagine with him getting close to free agency, the Marlins are probably going to want to cash in on his value while you still can. I'm going to expect a Pablo Lopez trade in the offseason. They really need offense. 25th overall. They signed guys like Aviseo Garcia, hit a grand slam the other day against the Brewers. But other than that, like Jorge Soler didn't do anything. I like the moves that they made in the offseason, but in the end, there's not a whole lot of offense for the Miami Marlins this year. The bullpen, 26 overall this year. The Marlins, let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do moving forward. The Texas Rangers coming in next at number 23. 19th in offense. You would think with guys like Seager and Semien coming on over along with Adolis Garcia, you would have seen a bit of a better offense. But they were really good at some points this year, but very up and down with the offense. I could see them maybe adding another bat, kind of getting a bit more of a consistent lineup from top to bottom, but they really need starting pitching. 25th overall this year in starting pitching. What do you do with a Martin Perez? You got to go out there and you got to get a starting pitcher. I mean, at the end of the day, sure, Kumar Rocker, he threw his first pitches in the Rangers organization. I believe that was yesterday. But you need some starting pitching now. I expect the Rangers to go out there and spend some money. But you know what? The bullpen this year was actually pretty solid with the Texas Rangers, I got to say. 15th overall, middle of the road. But they had some guys that really put up some good numbers in there. Matt Moore, I don't know if you realize this, but Matt Moore out of the bullpen this year was really good. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you know what? Let me actually just go pull up his numbers here. Matt Moore was just, look at these numbers. Let me pull these up here. Here we go. Matt Moore this year out of the bullpen. Actually, that's over the last 30 days. Let's go over the full season. Matt Moore, he had a 1.3 Fangraph WAR out of that bullpen. He had 63 games, 74 innings, a 1.95 ERA, 2.97 FIP. The walks were a little high, but he did keep the home runs down, so that's pretty solid. What do we got here? 2023 draft lottery odds set. Oh yeah, because they're going to be doing the ping pong balls now. So the Nationals, A's, and Pirates have the best chance to get the number one pick. So they got the draft lottery. So all right, but also you had Brock Burke in this bullpen. Taylor Hearn was pretty decent with a 2.74 FIP. Jose Leclerc was pretty solid. I think they need a guy who's going to be, you had Joe Barlow as your closer for the most part. He had 13 saves. I think they just need a guy who's going to step up and really take that role, just take it over completely. If you're looking at some of these guys, could you have Matt Moore maybe be your closer? Maybe. I don't know. Well, actually, will he even come back? He's going to be a free agent. So let's see what ends up happening with him in the offseason. You know, maybe so, you know, like a Jose Leclerc, maybe you could put him in the closer role full time for next year. But you know, overall for the Rangers bullpen, I think that was a pretty underrated part of the team this year. So overall, another bat, definitely a starting pitcher in the offseason. At number 22, you know what? I'm going the Rockies here. Might be a little surprising putting the Rockies ahead of the Rangers, but you know what? I like the Rockies in some ways this year. You know, some of the younger guys really stepping up for them. The starting pitching wasn't as bad as you might think. You know, some guys were, you know, pretty meh, but Germán Marquez did pitch better down the stretch, so that was one thing I liked. But they do need some starting pitching this offseason. But overall, I liked some of these younger bats that they had. CJ Cron just absolutely mashed this year. I liked Brendan Rodgers this year. Ryan McMahon was, you know, pretty solid for the most part overall. But the Rockies, it's always interesting with the Colorado Rockies. But you know what? They were playing a little better, you know, the last couple of weeks, so I gave them the number 22 spot. At number 21, I got the Cubbies rounding out the second to last tier. 20th in offense on the year, 24th in starting pitching, and 28th in relief pitching. Nico Hoerner, breakout year this year. Is that going to be enough for him to stay at shortstop, or do they go after another shortstop like a Dansby Swanson or a Trey Turner or a Carlos Correa? What do you do at shortstop? I know there's a lot of Cubs fans that would love Nico Hoerner to stay at short, but he could move. You can move him to second, maybe the outfield, something. Honestly, I think if you have a chance to get a superstar shortstop, the Cubs, they're a big market. They can sign a guy. I don't see why you would not do that. Justin Steele, pretty solid in the rotation this year. Marcus Stroman with an okay first season as a Chicago Cub, but they need to keep adding starting pitching. The Cubs, I expect them to be busy this offseason. Starting off the next tier, we have the Angels. 15th in offense on the year. You know, that offense, you know, the reason I start off with that is because that offense was once a top 5 offense, and then they lost 14 games in a row. Joe Madden got fired, and everything just fell off a cliff with the Angels. However, I will say this with the Angels. Take a look here at the Angels. They were 7th overall in starting pitching this year. That might be a little surprising to some people. That starting pitching was pretty solid. I mean, obviously you had Ohtani, but look at the year Patrick Sandoval had. Really solid year. Reed Detmers was better than you might have thought. Jose Suarez, he had some pretty good moments. Obviously, they traded Syndergaard. But, you know, this is not as bad as I actually... When I saw 7th overall, I was like, oh, look at the Angels. Look at the Angels. And don't forget, they added... I know Tucker Davidson did not have good numbers this year, but... maybe there could be something there with him. Maybe they could, you know, another offseason, they could figure something out with him. But overall, I think the Angels, if they could add someone like a Carlos Rodon, oh my. I think that this starting pitching could look really good. You know, if you got Ohtani and Rodon at the top of that rotation, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. They need to get someone like that. I'm telling you, the Angels have not been able to add any big starting pitching free agents. They didn't get Trevor Bauer. They didn't get Garrett Cole. You know? I mean, come on. You got to get a guy. Go get Carlos Rodon. If you want to go spend some money, go get Carlos Rodon. Shoto Hojo. I think I said that right. Thank you for subscribing. They need a starting pitcher. Go get Carlos Rodon. Go throw 5 years at the guy. 5 years, I don't know, 125, 110, something like that. Go get that guy. You know, I'm just saying. But the Angels, the starting pitching was better than you might have thought. The offense is going to be interesting. I wonder if they do add someone. Their defense this year was 20th overall. They could use a shortstop. Could you go after someone like a Trey Turner, a Dansby Swanson, a Correa? I don't know. With the Angels, I think they need to pay attention to the farm. That's just my opinion. But it's the Angels. You know, they got money. You know, why not? Whatever. If you can go get someone like a Trey Turner and then a Carlos Rodon, that's a pretty good team. I mean, can you imagine a lineup with Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and Trey Turner? You know, and then Taylor Ward have him be have a fully healthy season. I mean, I'm just saying, man. The Angels, I think, they're always just like a piece or two away from being a really good team. Let's see if they can execute this offseason. And you never know. Could they end up just selling off some guys. Maybe just focus on the farm. I don't know what the heck the Angels are going to do. But I have them coming in at number 19. Or number 20, sorry. At number 19, I got the Diamondbacks. I like the Diamondbacks. I really do. I've been saying that for the last couple of years, but I am more excited about the Diamondbacks for next year than I have been in any prior years, at least recently. There is a lot to like about the Angels, or sorry, the Diamondbacks. Let me pull up the Diamondbacks here. Dalton Varsho was really underrated this year. I'm just saying, man, he was really good. So if we go take a look here, Dalton Varsho, 27 home runs this year, had a 446 slugging, but he was really good defensively this year. Played some good defense out there. And he's playing multiple positions as well. Really like Dalton Varsho. Christian Walker hit for way more power and RBIs than I thought he did. He had 36 home runs and I think 98 RBIs. You got Corbin Carroll. He's going to be fun next year. Alek Thomas, he had his bumps this year. He took his licks. He took his bruises. But I think Alek Thomas, look out for him. I think the Diamondbacks are pretty close to being a pretty solid team. Pavin Smith, man, really took a step back this year. Not the season you were hoping out of him. And then with the starting pitching, obviously Zach Gallen was the guy this year. 2.54 ERA, set the record for scoreless innings in a row, 184 innings, 192 strikeouts, really solid. That's your ace, but I would love for the Diamondbacks to go get someone for that rotation. I just mentioned Carlos Rodon. I know Carlos Rodon is going to be helpful for any rotation out there, but if a team like the Diamondbacks could go get someone like him, the Diamondbacks almost kind of remind me of the Mariners in a way, where if they could go make a move like they did for Robbie Ray in the offseason, I'm just saying, I think the Diamondbacks are almost in the same position as the Mariners were last offseason. Go sign a guy like the Mariners did with Robbie Ray. Maybe make some. You got the prospects to make a trade like the Mariners when they got Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez. Maybe make some kind of a move like that. And then, hey, trade deadline next year, if you're in contention for a wild card spot, go use some prospects to go trade for a guy. I'm just saying, they are like the Mariners of the National League to me. You got some young players, some promise. You got some hope in the starting rotation. Don't forget about Merrill Kelly as well. Don't forget about Dre Jameson. He actually had a pretty good little run there in the last month of the season. 4 starts, a 1.48 ERA. Let's see how he does for next year. I'm telling you, I like the Diamondbacks for next year, man. I really do. I really do. And also, Nick, you mentioned Jake McCarthy as well. Very solid season out of him. A 346 on base, a 287 average. Would like to see a little more power if you could, but 23 stolen bases, not too bad if you ask me. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I like the D-backs. I really like them for next year. Moving on here. Let's talk about my Red Sox, shall we? Xander Bogaerts, bring this guy back. I've been talking with Ellis Burks over the last couple of episodes, and man, oh man, we got to bring him back. We got to bring him back. He's the face of the team. He's the face of the franchise, but he was also a really good player this year. He was a 6-win player. Hit a grand slam the other night. Xander Bogaerts, bring this guy back. Get this guy signed up. He wants to be in Boston. I mean, come on. He's still on the good side of 30. He's still producing. Now, I think it's going to come down to how many years. That's going to be the big if. Are the Red Sox going to be willing to go maybe a 6th or 7th year? I could see Bogaerts maybe wanting something like that, a little more security. Or would he be willing to, take a new 5-year deal and maybe just see an increase in salary? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what Bogaerts wants, but I really want him to come back. But in the end, for the Red Sox this year, too many injuries, not enough top-level pitching. Chris Sale, obviously, a horrendous luck. But I'm sorry, you can't be going a full season with, as much as I love me some Nick Pivetta, you can't go a full season with Nick Pivetta as your ace. Michael Wacha, fun story this year, but he's not a number 2 in a rotation. Rich Hill, he's always fun, but he's not a number 3. You did not have an ace at the top of the rotation. Nathan Eovaldi was hurt a lot this year. They just didn't have enough pitching. The bullpen, it just felt like it was just wackadoodle all year. You had injuries. You had guys who didn't really have established roles. It's going to be interesting. What do you do with Garrett Whitlock for next year? Does he become a starter full time? Do they work him up in spring training? in the offseason as well to become a full-time starting pitcher. I don't know. I love the guy as the closer. I don't know what it is, but he said himself his heart isn't starting. I don't know. To me, it's just like, I don't know. Don't fix what's not broke. That's just my opinion. The Red Sox, they got a lot of work to do. They need pitching. But at the same time, I still want the Red Sox to keep an emphasis on improving the farm. I guarantee you're going to see a lot of guys like Dan Shaughnessy who are going to be out there and be like, oh, the Red Sox, they're not making enough good moves to be a contender. Shut up, Dan. God, ever since Dan, 2011, with that rain delay with the Orioles saying, oh, the Red Sox are going to win this game, they're going to be in the playoffs, and then the Red Sox ended up losing. Dan Shaughnessy, please just go home and go to sleep. I can't stand that guy. But I guarantee you're going to see a lot of media criticizing the Red Sox this offseason, because I guarantee they're not going to go out there and make a huge move. I mean, maybe they could. They did it with Story last year, but Story wasn't like a massive move. When I say a massive move, I mean someone like an Aaron Judge. I've said Carlos Rodon now like 3 times. If you could get him, I would love it. I mean, I would obviously not hate it at all. I would love someone like that. But I feel like a move like that could make some sense, because you don't know what you're going to get with Chris Sale. He's a box of chocolates at this point. You don't know what you're going to get. You know, there's just a lot of uncertainty with the Red Sox, and I'm going to say this. Around 200 of you are in here right now. Could you look at exploring a trade for Rafael Devers? I've mentioned this in the past. Rafael Devers, he's got some very strong value right now. He's going to be a free agent after next season. Same thing happened with Mookie Betts. It seems like they're far apart on a contract. What do you do with Rafael Devers? I'm just saying. It's make or break. You know, what are you going to do? I don't know. But they got to figure something out with that. But at the end of the day, I want the Red Sox to still keep paying attention to improving the farm any way you can. There's a lot of young players to pay attention to. Really looking forward to see what Brian Mata can do next year. He had a really good season in the minors this year. I would imagine they're still going to have him start the year in the minors, and maybe you will find him with the team maybe by mid-season at some point. We'll have to wait and see. But there's a lot of youth. Obviously, Tristan Casas and Brian Bayo were the star youth players to come up this year. I'm excited about both. Both showed a lot of promise. I think the Red Sox can get back to being a really good team next year. They are going to have to make some moves in the offseason to make it happen, but we'll have to wait and see. That's enough of me rambling on about my Red Sox. Coming in next, I have the Twins. They were looking really good there at one point. They were looking really pretty there. Trade deadline, they're in first place. Made a trade for Jorge Lopez, beefing up that bullpen a little bit. Like some of the moves that they made. But in the end, a lot of injuries. Byron Buxton ended up going down. You just had injuries everywhere on the team. Starting pitching was getting hurt. Guys in the lineup, bullpen guys. There just wasn't enough depth with this team, I think, in the end. And I think a team like the Cleveland Guardians, they had the depth and they made it happen. And in the end, the Twins, they just didn't have it, right? And Carlos Correa, I would imagine Carlos Correa is probably going to be elsewhere next year. It was just weird when he signed with the Twins in the first place. It was just such an odd fit. I understood the fit, but it just felt like he went there because he didn't get the deal that he wanted. I think Correa ends up getting the deal that he wants. I would say Correa, he's either going to go to the Orioles. I think it's possible he could go back to the Twins. I would say probably not, though. There's teams out there that I think will make an offer for Carlos Correa, man. Could the Tigers get back in on it, move Baez to second base? Could the Giants, Crawford is going to be a free agent after next year. He's not getting any younger. Could you see Correa with the Giants possibly? There are some teams out here that definitely could make a run at him. But, I don't know. It's interesting. Very interesting. My bet would be the Baltimore Orioles. That's where I think he's going to end up. They were making a run at him at the end of the offseason last year before he ended up signing with the Twins. I think he's going to go to the Orioles. That's my pick. But we'll end up having to just, as always, wait and see. But the Twins, I think in the offseason, they need some pitching. I think they just need more pitching. I'm sorry to do this again for the fourth or fifth time now, Carlos Rodon. If you can get a guy like that, I don't know. Maybe then again, I don't know. I think they need a guy who you just know is going to give you innings. Carlos Rodon, I still wonder, because I don't know, he's always been a bit of a health risk to me. I don't know. Will the Twins want to go after him? We'll have to wait and see. They were interested in him last offseason, so let's see if they make another run at him. But the Twins, they were good in the first half. They just fell apart in the second half. At number 16, rounding out the bottom half, I got the San Francisco Giants playing really well there at the end. But in the end, just not enough for the San Francisco Giants. Not enough offense. Could Aaron Judge help you with that offense? They were 17th in slugging this year. I think Aaron Judge would be a great fit with the San Francisco Giants. Starting pitching this year is actually fantastic for the San Francisco Giants. Carlos Rodon, though, is he coming back? That's the 6th time now I think I've said Carlos Rodon. But that's definitely going to take a hit. How do you replace him if he leaves? You got Logan Webb. You got Alex Cobb there. Those guys were solid. But the relief pitching, they need a boost there. They were dead. No, they weren't dead last, but they were bottom 20. Definitely need some improvements in that bullpen, but they were dead last when it came to defense. They were a very bad defensive team this year. I think that hurt them a lot. So look out for the Giants in the offseason. I think they're going to be out there making some moves. Here we go. Top 15, and we got 200 people in the chat. Starting off the top 15, we got the Chicago White Sox. What a bummer of the year for the White Sox, man. A lot of injuries. Guys would having down seasons. Yohan Moncada, he didn't play a full season. He had a down season. Yasmani Grandal, one of the biggest disappointments in baseball this year. He would even say it himself. He is definitely looking to bounce back for next year. They just didn't have enough offense in the end. They just didn't have enough thump in that lineup, even though the names looked good. They just didn't produce. The starting pitching was actually really good in the second half. They were 3rd overall in the second half, but the first half did not help them out very much. So if they can get a full year of good starting pitching next year, I think that's going to be better. The bullpen was really solid for them. In the end, they just didn't have the right recipe. I don't know what it was. I definitely think the offense was just too up and down, too inconsistent, too many injuries. But I think in the end, the White Sox, they just didn't have the right, I can't even put my finger on it. I don't want to say chemistry, because it didn't seem like there was anything bad going on in the clubhouse. Were the guys maybe checked out with Tony La Russa? I don't know. It seemed like when he left, they started playing well. Could that have been a reason? I don't know. Something just wasn't right in Chi-Town. We'll have to wait and see what the White Sox do this offseason. And number 14, we got the Baltimore Orioles, probably the most fun team this year. If you're looking at it in terms of teams that are ahead of schedule, the Baltimore Orioles, they were looking like, man, like they could have maybe gotten a wild card spot at one point. In the end, just not quite there. 17th in offense on the year, 25th in starting pitching, 10th in relief pitching, though. Very good bullpen this year. Even despite trading a Jorge Lopez, you had Felix Bautista end up taking over the closer role. I think in the end, you just didn't have enough offense and you didn't have enough starting pitching. They need a guy for the rotation. Whatever, I'll say it for the 8th time. Carlos Rodon. Why not Carlos Rodon for the Baltimore Orioles? I think that could be pretty fun. You had some guys in the... Let me pull up the Orioles' top prospects. You had a good amount of prospects come up this year for the Baltimore Orioles. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, obviously. But Grayson Rodriguez was a guy that was supposed to come up this year and ended up having the lat injury. I definitely think you're going to see him next year. I think you could even see him in the rotation, maybe in the beginning of the year. So look out for him. Oh, Super Chat coming in. Conman752. Super excited to see what the O's do this offseason. Fully expect some major moves to happen. Shortstop, hopefully a top-tier starting pitcher via a trade or free agency. Decent backup to Adley is needed. I think Elias will use the system depth as trade ammo. Maybe you could go after someone like a Pablo Lopez, Maybe that could be a pretty solid piece for the rotation there. Grayson Rodriguez with him. You had some guys in this rotation this year. Now the problem is they didn't have an ace. They had good quality, solid pieces, but they didn't have really that top, the 1 and the 2 in the rotation that can anchor that rotation. Dean Kramer was pretty nice this year, but they definitely need some guys, some studs at the top there. Hey man, Carlos Rodon, Grayson Rodriguez. Sounds pretty nice. Maybe Pablo Lopez, too. Could you imagine that? Oh, That'd be pretty nice, man. That'd be pretty nice. But they definitely need some starting pitching, I agree. Comment752, thank you for the $20 super chat. I really do appreciate that. That goes a long way. Adley Rutschman, very good rookie season. If it wasn't for Julio Rodriguez, Adley Rutschman would probably win the Rookie of the Year. But that's pretty much it for the Orioles, man. I definitely think the offseason, they are going to be one of the more exciting teams to watch. Because you got money, you got youth. I'm just saying. Mike Elias is going to be out there making moves, man. Making moves. At number 13, that's the wrong one. At number 13, we got the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers, man, they had a chance there in the end. They were coming up right on the Phillies' tails, but in the end just fell short. The Marlins ended up being the spoilers for the Brewers. And, and just like I thought, I did not think the Brewers were going to make the playoffs. I thought in the beginning of the season, or before the season started, I predicted the Brewers would be good, but I thought they would just fall short. Honestly, I'm going to be doing a video here I'm going to look back at my predictions for this year. I think that's a pretty fun little video. I actually did okay on a couple of the picks. Now, I definitely got some wrong, but I definitely hit on a couple of them. I got none of the awards right. None of the awards are right. Maybe a Manager of the Year I could get right. I think I picked Bob Melvin and Scott Service as the Managers of the Year. You maybe could see Bob Melvin as Manager of the Year, maybe. I don't know. I think you're going to get Buck Showalter there. I don't know. It'll be interesting. But none of the awards I got right. I think I picked Garrett Cole for Cy Young and then Logan Webb for the National League. My MVP picks, I had Jose Ramirez and who did I pick in the National League? I picked Juan Soto in the National League. So I got none of the awards right. I did better in the National League when it came to the divisions. The American League, I was a little all over the place. But I had a couple of pretty decent predictions. I'm excited to go make a video on that and look back. So... Geo Flynn, is this a season ranking? I guess. I mean, it's been fluctuating throughout the whole year. So this is just the end point. So I guess you could say it's a season ranking at the end of the day. But yeah, the Brewers, they ended up just falling short like I thought they would. I just didn't think they had enough this year. I like Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff there, but after that, you didn't really have a whole lot. Freddie Peralta was hurt this year. You just didn't really have a whole ton with the Brewers when it came to the starting pitching. Definitely you had top guys, but I just felt like they lacked the depth behind them. The offense was a bit up and down this year. The good bats, but I felt like they were really hot at times and it was really cold at times. The bullpen, after they traded Josh Hader, it felt like they really struggled. I thought maybe they could have replaced him with what they brought back in, but in the end, the bullpen really struggled. So the Brewers, they just did not have the right recipe. So at number 12, so we're getting into the playoff teams now. So I guess you could say these are my power rankings for the playoff teams, I guess. So we're in the top 12. I'm starting off with the Rays. The Rays, they're interesting. They're 14th in offense on the year, but they're 20th over the last month. So the Rays offense, to me, they had a lot of injuries this year. Wander Franco's bat is heating up. Yandy Diaz, he keeps on hitting, having a great year. Christian Betancourt, he has been hitting well. With the Rays, the starting pitching, 11th overall, 19th in the last month. The starting pitching has been a little up and down. We're going to have McClanahan, Kluber, and probably Glasnow for Game 3. They're probably open with him. And then you got some other guys, And we got Rasmussen as well. How is Rasmussen doing? Wasn't he? He was hurt at one point, wasn't he? Well, let me take a look at this. No, I think he's still. No, he's still. I guess you probably have. I don't know. Would you go with a Glasnow for Game 3 or probably Rasmussen actually? And then, actually, maybe Kluber. I can't talk. Rasmussen probably for Game 2, and then Kluber, maybe Game 3. Maybe a combo of Kluber and Glasnow for Game 3. I think that's interesting the way the Rays could go. They'll probably go based off matchups, honestly. But you got some decent starting pitching for the playoffs here. The bullpen, surprisingly, this year has been pretty middle of the road. Usually when you think of the Rays, you think of a really good bullpen, but 14th overall this year, 18th in the last month. But I think, for the playoffs, You know, you got some guys that they're not going to go to with starting, so guys will get relegated to bullpen roles. You know, for the Rays, honestly, they just don't excite me all that much. Who knows? Maybe they can get hot and make a run. We'll have to see. At number 11, just falling outside of my top 10, I got the Phillies. Hey, you know, the Phillies, that was actually one team I predicted. I think I predicted their record exactly right. I think I predicted them with 88 wins. Let me just pull up the standings here. Did they finish with 88 or 87? So, okay, I think I picked them with 88 wins, and they got 87. Dang it, Philly. Come on, you couldn't get that one more win for me? But the Phillies, it's such a weird team. I mentioned this earlier. They have good numbers, but they don't win a lot of games. Like, I don't get it. They're 9th in offense, 2nd in starting pitching, 9th in relief pitching over the last month. You know, they're producing. You know, but hold on, let me pull up the starting pitching here. So, or no, sorry, 2nd in over the whole year. Their starting pitching has been fantastic, but I don't know what it is. It just doesn't translate to a lot of wins. You know, I don't know. Philly, it's weird. You got talent, you got numbers. It just doesn't really translate. Let me actually look at the fielding really quick. Let's see here. Fielding, where do they rank defensively? Oh, okay. Well, that definitely makes a bit of a difference there. 27th in fielding. Negative 22.3 defense this year. So that's definitely going to bite you. But the Phillies, offensively, Kyle Schwarber, he's just been wrecking balls lately. JT Realmuto, he's been solid. Bryce Harper, he's got to heat up, man. He's got to heat up. He's been cold. I haven't heard anything about Bryce Harper lately. Let me actually pull up some Bryce Harper numbers here. Here we go. Let's go to Philly. Let's go to the last 30 days. Yeah, Bryce Harper, man, over his last 26 games, only hitting 196 with a 283 on base. He's got a few homers, but he's not really doing all that much. The pitching. Nola, he's been solid lately. Zach Wheeler has had a pretty solid season. Pitched well against the Nationals his last time out. Ranger Suarez will be the Game 3 starter. He's actually going to be limited to 4 innings in that game. So, the Phillies, I think, are interesting. Don't sleep on them. I know a lot of people, they're going to look at those 87 wins and they're going to be like, huh? The Phillies? I don't know about the Phillies, man. So, however, I'm picking the Phillies starting pitching over the Cardinals. I'm just saying. I'm going Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler any day over Wainwright and Michaelis. You know, but then again, with those two, they definitely focus on the defense a little bit more. They have a game plan over there in St. Louis, so it's going to be interesting. Will the talent of Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola be enough to overcome the St. Louis Cardinals, I would say, philosophy of how they like to pitch? Because they definitely use the defense a lot. So it'll be an interesting matchup. I don't think you should sleep on Philly in this series. They got talent. I think it's a good team. But for me, they fall just outside of my top 10. Really quick, everyone, before I do get to the top 10, let's get to, really quick, just the sponsors for today's show. Remember, we are partners here with SeatGeek. Use my code HYDE. You get 20 bucks off. And don't forget about Prize Picks. Use my code GINGER, and you'll get a 100% deposit match. Alrighty, everyone, let's get back to it here. Here we go. At number 10, we have the Seattle Mariners. You know, the Mariners playing pretty good baseball lately. 7-3 in their last 10. They won 3 straight to end the season against the Tigers. Overall, the Mariners are 8th in offense on the year, 7th in the last month. So the offense has been pretty steady all year. The starting pitching, I like the Mariners starting pitching in the playoffs better than a regular season. If we go pull up the Mariners here, not Drew Rasmussen, not Corey Kluber. What the heck are we doing here? Where are the Mariners? Here we go, Seattle. Now, you're going to have Luis Castillo. You're going to have Logan Gilbert. You're going to have Robbie Ray. You're going to have George Kirby. I love this pitching for the postseason. Now, you're going to be going up against a really good offense with the Toronto Blue Jays. But the Mariners have a good offense themselves. So while the starting pitching has not been fully producing over the last month or so, because if we actually go pull up some numbers here, Seattle, over the last 30 days, they've had, it's a bit up and down. Logan Gilbert's been really good over his last 5. Kirby has a better FIP over his last 5, so that's promising. Castillo, he's been okay. A 4.23 ERA, 11 Ks per 9. But Robbie Ray has not been great. Marco Gonzalez has not been great. So, I also wonder too, some young guys like Logan Gilbert, George Kirby against some really good bats with the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm not going to lie. The matchup worries me a little bit with the Mariners. Their bullpen, 13th on the year, but 19th over the last month. So it'll be interesting. The Mariners definitely have a squad that can make a fun run, but this Blue Jays matchup is going to be really tough. So it's going to be very interesting. Again, if you're looking at the bracket, I mean, the Mariners, you got a tough road, man, because you got to get by these bats with the Blue Jays. And then you got a couple of starting pitchers there too. And then you just go into a buzzsaw of Houston with good starting pitching, a good offense, good defense, a good bullpen. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. The Mariners are going to have a tough road, but I definitely think they could get some magic put together. It'll be interesting, but this is a very tough matchup for them with the Blue Jays. That Blue Jays offense has been really good. Coming in at number 9, I got the San Diego Padres. I have been loving the Padres starting pitching a lot lately. This is why I'm saying don't sleep on them against the New York Mets. Blake Snell has been out of his mind. And Blake Snell in the playoffs, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Yu Darvish, hey, he's been fantastic against the Mets in his career. He's 2-0 against them this year. Musgrove is solid. They've been getting some really good starting pitching from these three. I'm just saying that do not easily pick against this Padres team. I know a lot of people are going to, but the Mets right now, they just had that tough series against the Braves. I just think in the end, the Braves were better prepared for that series. I think they were just the better team at that point in time. But this starting pitching can beat the Mets. They absolutely could. I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. And the offense, they're 12th on the year, 12th in the last month, so they've stayed steady. But I'm sorry, but when you got an offense with Manny Machado, with Juan Soto, Will Myers has been hitting really well lately. You got Brandon Drury there. I mean, Josh Bell hasn't been doing a whole lot of hitting lately, but you got bats, man. This is not a bad lineup at all, and the bullpen has been really good. If we go take a look here, over the last 30 days, San Diego has the 7th best bullpen. Just keep mind of that. While the Mets, on the other hand, the Mets are not bad either, but they're a little bit behind the Padres. A little bit. And I'm not saying it doesn't really mean a whole bunch, but they both got good bullpens coming in. The Padres, their starting pitching has been looking really good. Actually, the Mets starting pitching has been looking good too. So 5th overall with the Mets. We'll talk about them. But this is going to be a really good series. It's a 3-game series. I almost wish it was a 5-game just because I want to see more of these two teams going at it. But this is going to be fun. I like the Padres. I really do. That's starting pitching for me. They've been better than the Mariners lately, so I'm going to put the Padres a little bit ahead of the Mariners. At number 8, I got the Blue Jays. To me, I think this is the most intriguing team in the playoffs because when you think of this Blue Jays team, you just think of bats. They're 2nd on the year. If we go take a look at the overall numbers, that is fielding. Looking at the overall offense, only just behind the LA Dodgers. So a lot of good offense here with the Blue Jays. I mean, this lineup has been completely stacked. Springer, Bichette, very good seasons. Vlad took a step back from last year, but he still had a really good season. Teoscar Hernandez, Max Chapman have been really solid. You got 5 guys in this lineup that have at least hold on a second. Let me pull this up. You got 5 guys in this lineup that have at least 24 home runs. I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, look at the lineups here. Or look at the lineup here. So, oh, come on. Here we go. 50 plate appearances. Okay, Bo Bichette. He's leading the way in terms of Fangraph WAR. But actually, just looking at the offense, well, Danny Jansen leads in WRC+. He's actually been pretty good this year, Danny Jansen. But George Springer, Vlad Jr., Teoscar Hernandez, Bo Bichette. Don't forget about Alejandro Kirk. He's been really good, too. Whit Merrifield has actually been hitting really well with the Blue Jays. So, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. This is a tough lineup. Very tough. Gabriel Moreno's been hitting, too. They got bats for days. Bats for days. And the starting pitching. You got Gosman. You got Manoah. You got Ross Steady. Well, let's come up with a nickname here. I was trying to think of a nickname earlier. Ross Steady Stripling. Ross Steady Eddie Stripling. I don't know. He's a steady, man. That guy's been great. He's very underrated. I'm telling you, though, Alek Manoah, I think, could be a guy in this postseason that could really have a huge postseason. I'm just saying. If you go take a look at some starting pitching here, Alek Manoah has been really good lately. Look at Alek Manoah, man. Over his last 5 starts, he's 3-0, a 1.07 ERA. The FIP is higher, about 2 runs higher, a 3.35. But I've been liking the way Alek Manoah has been going about things. He's been really good. Kevin Gosman, I think he's going to be fine in this postseason. He's had a really solid season overall. Ross Stripling, like I said, steady as they come. Now, Jose Barrios, I want to point this out. He has been abysmal at times over the last month. He has a 4.83 ERA, but he has a 3.77 FIP. That's a full run lower. So keep that in mind. The Blue Jays bullpen has been better in the second half. I think the Blue Jays, they're a very intriguing team in this postseason. They weren't the team that I think a lot of people thought they were going to be. A lot of people picked the Blue Jays to win this division because they won the offseason. They just, my goodness, they were just bringing in guys the last couple of years. But I'm just saying, with this Blue Jays team, they're dangerous with that bat or those bats. Got a couple of starters there, a bullpen that I think can get the job done. Look out. I think the Blue Jays, they can definitely get by the Mariners. And honestly, I think the Blue Jays have enough bats to take on that Astros pitching staff. I think the Blue Jays are very intriguing. I'm not even kidding. The way I'm looking at this right now, I think the Blue Jays could make it to the championship series. I'm just saying, I don't know, man. Could you maybe see the Yankees and the Astros both get knocked out? I'm just saying, I think if Tampa makes it to the division round against the Yankees, Tampa, they know the Yankees. They're very familiar with them. Cleveland, I think, is really underrated. I think they could beat the Yankees. I think the Blue Jays could beat the Astros. I think those bats could take it to the Astros. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if you see one of these 4 teams, or these 4 teams, or 2 of these 4 teams in the wild card round. Don't be surprised if you see them in the championship round. I'm just saying. But we'll have to wait and see. But the Blue Jays, I think, are really intriguing. At number 7, I got the St. Louis Cardinals. I got the Cardinals. They're dropping a little bit for me. And and here's why. Listen, I know Pujols has been really fun, but I need to show you something, everyone. I got to show you this. Other than Pujols in the last month, maybe Brendan Donovan a little bit, Pujols has basically been their offense. Arenado has been driving in some runs, but Pujols has basically been their offense for the last 30 days. I'm just saying, man. They're 5th overall on the year, but they're 15th in the last month. Arenado, sure, he's driving in some runs, but the slash line is really low. Goldschmidt, his slash line, really low over the last month. These 2 guys are not really hitting as well as you might think. Tyler O'Neill, not a whole lot. Tommy Edman, he's been okay. But other than that, Pujols has basically been their offense. And I don't think a lot of people have realized that, because Pujols has been chasing history and everyone's been into Pujols. But no one else is performing. You got Brendan Donovan's been all right. He has over a 400 on base in his last 25 games. But when it comes to, driving in runs, Arenado's been the other guy driving in runs. The Cardinals offense, they're slipping a little bit lately. The starting pitching, I like the Cardinals starting pitching. If we go look at where they rank in terms of ERA, St. Louis, they're 16th overall. They're not bad, but they're not great. They have a 3.95 FIP. When you look at everything, when it comes to Fangraph WAR, they're 16th overall. You got Wainwright, you got Michaelis, you got Montgomery, you got Quintana. I don't know. It's not amazing starting pitching. Then, because I always think, I'm like, okay, well, if you have enough starting pitching, well, how about the bullpen? Well, the bullpen has not been amazing for the Cardinals lately. If you go look at the Cardinals bullpen, they're 11th overall on the year. Over the last 30 days. Now, that's fine. The ERA is a 4.04, 3.68 FIP. And then if we take a look at the individual numbers. Oh, wait, no, that's the... Oh, I'm looking at starting pitching. I'm sorry. Let me go to the relievers. No, I was right. St. Louis, they have not had a good bullpen overall in the last month. They're 25th overall in Fangraph WAR. The ERA will definitely look better. They're 14th in ERA over the last month. And in FIP, they are 22nd, 4.33. That's pretty much league average at that point. So it's been an okay bullpen. It's just not amazing. Obviously, Helsley has just been fantastic this year. I mean, he's been great. He's got 6 saves over the last month. Gallegos, he's been great. So, well, I wouldn't say great, but he's been pretty solid. He's pitched in 10 games over the last month. The bullpen is not amazing, I would say. That worries me a little bit. Because when I see it, if you have enough starting pitching in the playoffs and then you can turn to the bullpen and they can shut it down, that makes me feel better. But when I look at the Cardinals, their starting pitching is okay and their bullpen is okay. Their offense, I think, definitely can be really good. I mean, you've had guys slumping, but I don't know. They were exciting to me. They were more exciting to me a couple months ago. They were more exciting to me even like a month ago. But lately, the past month, they just haven't really been great. And I think a lot of what Pujols has been doing has been masking that a little bit. Now, I do like the Cardinals. I picked them to win the World Series before this year started. But I don't know. I'm not feeling as confident about the Cardinals as I was before. I think there's an argument that you could put the Blue Jays ahead of the Cardinals. Because right now, this Blue Jays offense is way better than the Cardinals. Way better. And they're getting... I mean, if you're looking in terms of just like 3 starting pitchers for the playoffs, Manoah, Gausman, Stripling, they've been pretty solid. I honestly do think, I think the Cardinals and the Blue Jays, I think you could go either or here. I don't know. I might have to do a vote in the chat. What do you think? Blue Jays or Cardinals at number 7? Who gets number 8? If I were to do a vote, I mean, right now, I'll stick with the Cardinals because they were last week in the top 5 for me. So they have fallen out. I think this could be pretty split. I think you could see the Blue Jays a little better right now, but I could also see some people sticking with the Cardinals. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to add a poll. I'm going to let you guys jump in on this. Which team is number 7? Cardinals, Blue Jays. This is where you guys get your vote. All right, the poll is open, everyone. The poll is open. Here we go. Alrighty. Let's see what you all come up with here. What do we got here? What do we got? Why isn't it popping up for me? Hold on. The poll is not popping up for me. Poll is not popping up. Hold on. Where is the poll? There's the poll. Okay, here we go. All right, right now, it looks like the Blue Jays have a lead. Right now, we got 87 votes in the poll. And the Blue Jays, you guys so far are at 57% for the Blue Jays. So it looks like we might have to move the Blue Jays. So when we get to 100 votes, I will close the poll. So right now we're at, yep, it looks like a Blue Jays win. $98 votes, 59% for the Blue Jays. Yep, I'm going to do it. There you go. The Blue Jays win the poll. So I'm going to make the move. I'm going to move the Blue Jays ahead here. You guys have voted. I got you involved here in the power rankings for this week. But here we go. Blue Jays, I got at number 7. You know, now that I looked at it, I was like, oh, you know what? That might actually be the right move. So the Blue Jays have been the better team lately, I think. And, hey, it is what it is. But I am not going to shy away from this one. I have really liked the Cleveland Guardians lately. They have been a very good team. And I'm telling you, I think the Guardians can be dangerous. I do. I think the Guardians can be a dangerous team in this postseason. I know that might sound surprising. I think that might sound a little surprising, but hear me out here. Now, overall, the numbers lately are way better than where they are overall. Cleveland's offense, 8th overall over the last month. If we go take a look at the starting pitching over the last month, Cleveland's been getting some good pitching. 4th overall over the last month. And that bullpen has been locked down for the whole year. They're number 1 overall in Fangraph WAR over the last month. And if we take a look at the full season, Cleveland is one of the best bullpens for the entire year. They're 4th overall. Cleveland is a good team. I love that Cleveland has variety in this lineup. So if we go take a look here at the numbers, you got some guys. They can hit some boppers. You got Jose Ramirez there, obviously. That's the guy. But I love what Andres Jimenez has done this year. He's provided great defense at second base. Oscar Gonzalez has been pretty solid for the most part. Ahmed Rosario, he's played a pretty solid shortstop. I love Steven Kwan with that 372 on base. I really like, I'm not going to sit here and say this Guardians lineup is completely amazing, but I like the lineup. I like that they could play some good defense, and actually, if I were to pull up the fielding here, Cleveland is one of the better defensive teams in baseball. 5th overall, or actually, let me go here. 5th overall in defense. When it comes to defensive runs saved, Cleveland is 3rd overall. So, I'm just saying, Cleveland, they've been playing really well, hitting well lately, getting some good pitching, a really good bullpen. You got Bieber. He's an ace that you can turn to. He's had a pretty solid year. Tristan McKenzie, he's been pretty underrated this year. I've really liked what he's done. Cal Quantrill has been a pretty solid number 3. I would like some better starting pitching, but here's the thing. I think they have enough. I think they have enough starting pitching because this bullpen is lights out. This bullpen is awesome. I'm just saying, I really like the Guardians. I think they're being slept on. They can definitely beat the Rays. They can beat the Yankees. Why couldn't they beat the Yankees? Why not? I know the Yankees, they've been getting some pretty good starting pitching lately. But that Guardians bullpen can go toe-to-toe with the Yankees. Maybe the Yankees got some more bats. But I like man, and what I like also about the Guardians is that they're a young team. You know, I love that. They just don't care what you think. You know, they're good. Yeah, maybe they could come in here. You could look at it as like, oh, they're young. There's going to be so much pressure. Who's even picking the Guardians this year? Who's picking them? No one's picking them. I'm just saying. Also, I think I was one win off of my prediction for the Guardians record for this year. I predicted them with 91 wins. They finished with 92. I was one win away. I was so close. But dude, the Guardians, I like their lineup. I like some of the Yankee bats better. But the Guardians, they got some pitching that I think can shut down the Yankees if they made it that far. I definitely think they can beat the Rays. I think the Guardians, they could go to the championship series. When I'm looking at numbers, they got a young team, but I love me some Terry Francona. Love me some Terry Francona. I'm just saying. Dude, it's just a good vibe going on, man. Don't be surprised. It's going to be a tough matchup if they make it to the Yankees. Don't be surprised if they beat the Yankees. Do not sleep on them. Just say Derek Deese, they're hot too. 24-6 to end the year. I'm just saying, man. I like Cleveland. They finished at number 6 on my power rankings for this year. Here we go. Top 5. I do got the Yankees at number 5, just ahead of Cleveland. The Yankees offense, they were really slumping there for a little while. 4th in offense on the year, but they're 1st in the last month, 3rd in the last 7 days. Aaron Judge setting the record for the American League, breaking Roger Maris's record. Roger Maris Jr., can you please stop talking? Stop it. Saying here, well, Barry Bonds, he was taking steroids and everything. No, that shouldn't count. Aaron Judge should be the true home run king. Get out of here. Go home. Go climb in your silk pajamas and go to bed. I'm done. Stop it. Stop it. Barry Bonds, true home run king. Love me some Barry Bonds. I don't care what anyone thinks. Also, man, I love me some Sammy Sosa. I was looking at some numbers the other day. Saw Sammy Sosa had three separate seasons with 60 home runs. I mean, that's nuts. I think a lot of people forget about that. That guy had 3 seasons with 60 home runs, at least. Crazy. And that's another thing, too. CRAZ951. Pitchers were taking roids, too. It was just a different era. Different era. You don't have to agree with it, but everyone was doing it. It is what it is. But the Yankees. Aaron Judge setting the record. Oswaldo Cabrera, he's been really good lately for the Yankees. He's been stepping up for them. Gleyber Torres, he's been stepping up for them as well. Let's actually pull up some numbers here. Gleyber Torres, man, he was really good in the beginning of the year. Then he went into a bit of a slump. But now lately, he's hitting really well. Hitting really well. So Judge, Cabrera, Torres, they're contributing. Even Oswald Peraza's been contributing a little bit. Look at Josh Donaldson with a few home runs. Stanton with 7 home runs over his last 30. But when it comes to the Yankees starting pitching, I'm a little intrigued with this starting pitching. I don't know what it is with Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, I don't know what it is. Like, it's like, what Garrett Cole are you going to get? You know? Nestor Cortez has picked it up lately. He's been really good over his last 30, over his last month, over his last 5 starts. Tyone has been getting himself right. Severino looked really good the other night. Look out for him. You know, you've got some guy like Frankie Montas. What is even that guy going to do in the post? Are they even going to put him on the roster? I mean, is he even going to be on the playoff roster? I would imagine probably maybe not. Right? Have they even announced it? I don't even... Wait, what does it say here? Unlikely for the rotation. So, you know, it'll be interesting. will Montas even have any bit of a role for this postseason? I still think they should have went and got Luis Castillo. I don't know. That to me would have made this look a lot better. But overall, pretty decent starting pitching lately. They're 5th in the bullpen for the year, but the bullpen lately is only 14th overall. Ron, I always forget how to pronounce this. Ron Marinesi, I can't do it. Mariner, I can't do it. How do you? I can't do it. I'm done. Marinaccio. There we go. Ron Marinaccio. Okay. I've seen his name, obviously, so many times. I've never heard it, right? I didn't ever see him coming into a game, so I never heard his name announced. But it's like, I would try to say it, and I just can't remember how to say it. Marinaccio. Like C-Raz says, Ron Burgundy. But yeah, he's injured. He's going to be on the IL heading into the postseason. He's been a big part of that bullpen. So, I mean, if we take a look at the Yankees bullpen right now, I mean, come on. I mean, you got to roll this Chapman. You're fine. You got Chapman. I'm just kidding. But, it hasn't been, like Clay Holmes right now. Like, I think he's going to be good for the postseason. Won't be placed on the IL since he would then be out for the ALDS. So he's got something going on with the shoulder. But, I don't know, man. This Yankees bullpen. Ballcap Sports has become a member for the 7th straight month. Ballcap Sports. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Oh, Ballcap, man. We've been going hard at these power rankings for the whole year, man. I'm going to be honest. There were some Sundays where I'm like, oh, all right. Here we go. Another night of power rankings. So it gets a little tiring doing these. I'm not going to lie. But this is a fun one. We got the playoffs. So Ballcap, everyone, go subscribe to Ballcap. He's fantastic. Go over there. But taking a look here, you got guys in this bullpen. I don't know, but they just haven't really been doing all that great lately. They've got some injuries. I got the Yankees at number 5 for right now. In the end, they make my top 5. But that's just me. I think it's intriguing with the Yankees in the postseason. I think they could be really good. But then I could also see them falling short again. I don't know. At number 4, we got the New York Mets. We got the Mets at number 4. 3rd in offense, 2nd over the last month, 4th over the last 7 days. They were abysmal against the Braves. What can you do? But Jeff McNeil won the batting title. Let's actually go pull up some Mets numbers here. Here we go. So you don't got Starling Marte. Who knows when he's coming back. But overall, the Mets, some really good years. Francisco Lindor. Could you say that Francisco Lindor has actually been pretty underrated this year? I'm just saying. I think he's been pretty underrated. I feel like I haven't heard anything about him. I've heard more about DeGrom and Scherzer instead of Lindor. He's almost a 7-win player. Look at the good year that he's had. Hitting .270, a .339 on base, .449 slugging, 26 homers, 107 RBIs, 16 stolen bases. He even runs the bases well. He's had a great year. McNeil, very good season for McNeil. Nimmo's been really good. Alonso, 40 home runs this year. Marte, though, he is out, so that's a bit of a loss there. But the offense has been doing well without him, except for the Braves series. Kana, he's been pretty solid for the most part. Escobar, 20 home runs, solid, not too bad. But the Mets offense, it will be interesting to see. Will the absence of a Starling Marte end up hurting them in the postseason? They're going to need all the offense they can get with this Padres starting pitching coming up. Now, when it comes to the Mets rotation, obviously, we all know DeGrom and Scherzer, they're fantastic. But Bassett, Walker, those are the other guys you got there. When it comes to game 1 and 2, you're set, but I would imagine you're going to have Bassett for game 3, but he hasn't been all that great lately. Walker, he's been, kind of around the same, kind of just whatever. Actually, Walker, I have to say, I feel like Walker has actually had himself a pretty good year. You know, go look at these numbers here. Oh, Venezuela, what's going on? William Fulgham renewing their memberships for yet another month. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. But Taijuan Walker, I take that back. He's actually been pretty good lately. 3.63 ERA, a 3.34 FIP over his last 6. Carrasco has a 2.89 FIP. But yeah, Bassett's been kind of meh. Rocky Adams for the 13th straight month has become a member. Thank you, Rocky. Thank you, thank you. But taking a look all year. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? So yeah, Walker. Overall, pretty solid year. 29 starts, 3.49 ERA, 3.64 FIP. You just would like more strikeouts if you could. I mean, DeGrom has just been nasty over his 11 starts. He's got like 15 or 14 strikeouts per 9, a 2.13 FIP. He gave up the 3 homers to the Braves, but honestly, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If the Mets and the Braves somehow end up in the National League Championship Series against each other, I guarantee you the Mets will not look like how they did against the Braves in this final series. I guarantee it. They will make the adjustments. They will do what they need to do. I guarantee if it's the Mets and the Braves in the championship series, I think it goes 7. I'm not kidding. I think there's no way the Braves do that again to the Mets. U.S. veteran, $5 super chat. People really need to hit that like button. Where are we with the likes? U.S. veteran, thank you so much, my friend. Where are we at with the likes? Well, we only got 87 likes. Come on. We got to get this going here. Come on. 87 likes. Come on. Let's get to 150 likes. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? I think we can. But definitely, the Mets, they can definitely handle the Braves way better than they did this past series. The Mets are good. They're very good. Good starting pitching. Maybe not as good as it's been all year lately, but obviously very good pitching for the postseason. And the bullpen, I think, has been overlooked with this Mets team. They're 12th overall on the year, 9th in the last month. I know Edwin Diaz, you got the Trumpets, but you got a lot of good pieces in this bullpen. If I were to actually pull up the numbers here, let's go to the Mets bullpen. I mean, obviously, Edwin Diaz has been fantastic. This guy's nuts. He's got 17 strikeouts per 9. Good grief. He has a 0.90 FIP. Adam Ottavino has been really good. Trevor Williams, solid. Joely Rodriguez, ERA is not that great at 4.56, but he has a 3.23 FIP. Seth Lugo, solid. Trevor May, actually, is Trevor May healthy right now? So, no, he's been fine. Has he pitched lately? Okay, yeah, he just pitched a few days ago. So, hasn't been pitching all that much, though. I don't know. I like the Mets bullpen. I think it's a little underrated. So, but I like the Mets, man. I like the Mets. It's interesting for them because Malik Brooks has become a member. Malik, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you, thank you. The Mets might have the worst path, like the hardest path. You got to go through the Padres starting pitching and a team that's been pitching well out of the bullpen lately with good bats. You got to go through them, and then you got to go through the Dodgers, and they're not going to be easy at all. It'll be very tough. Then you got to go up against either the Phillies, the Cardinals, and the Braves, or the Braves in the championship series. I mean, this is a very difficult path for the Mets. I mean, my God. If they can get through this gauntlet of the Padres and the Dodgers, I mean, could you imagine you got to beat the Padres, the Dodgers, and you got to go through the Braves? Oh, my goodness. That is just, awful. Awful. My goodness. But the Mets, obviously, they were built for this. This is what they did in everything they did in the offseason. This is what they've been getting ready for. So let's see what they can do, man. Let's see what they can do. Malik Brooks has upgraded his membership to Legend. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate that. At number 3, I got the Atlanta Braves. Hey, the Braves taking the division 10.5 games back in around mid-season and made their way all the way back. I picked the Braves to win the division this year, and my prediction came true. I thought the Mets would be the top wild card team, and here we are. I got a prediction right. So the Braves, very solid. 7th in offense on the year, 10th in the last month, 6th in starting pitching on the year. However, the starting pitching lately for the Braves has not been amazing. Let me pull up the numbers. Actually, hold on. Let me go to the rankings. 18th overall over the last month. A 4.37 ERA, a 4.10 FIP. So if I were to go here to Atlanta, now you've had some guys do pretty well. Strider, he should be fine for the postseason. Actually, Bryce Elder has been pitching really well. Kyle Wright, on the other hand, Kyle Wright has been meh. He's 4-0. That's definitely something to think about there with Kyle Wright. But he has a 5.26 ERA over his last 5 and a 4.16 FIP. So, now, was that maybe one start that got blown up? Let me look at his game log. Okay, so he had one start. Okay, over his last 4, he's been better. So he did pitch well against the Mets. The Phillies, he pitched fine. The Nationals, he gave up 8 hits. Yeah, Oakland was what made that ERA blemish a bit. So, but Odorizzi, not really anything. Fried, it's fine. I like Max Fried. But Charlie Morton has not been all that great. So, 6.23 ERA, a 5.92 FIP. So, I would imagine for game 1, you're going to go Fried. And then I think game 2, you're going to go Kyle Wright. Then I would think game 3, they'll probably go Morton. Right? I would think they're going to go Morton for a game 3. And I don't know, maybe you go Strider. Maybe go Strider. You know? He's been throwing lately, and he said he feels fine. So I would imagine you'll probably go Strider in one of those 3. You know, Morton. Let me actually look at Morton really quick. Morton didn't look very good against the Mets. So, how was he? Yeah, he looked awful against the Phillies. You have a back-to-back 4-run games against the Giants and the Mariners. He was all right against the Nationals, but against better teams, he's not been doing very well. So, that's going to be interesting. But with the Braves, the thing I love about the Braves, their bullpen is just nasty. Kenley Jansen, I think, was the MVP of that series with the Mets. He had a save in all 3 games. That guy was locking it down. My goodness. They were close games, too. So, Kenley Jansen, give him a lot of credit there. Really good bullpen there. Love what they got. I do like the starting pitching. The offense, I do think, needs to pick it up a little bit if they can. I love this offense with the Braves, but some guys have been a little quiet. For instance, Austin Riley's been a little quiet, hitting 198 over his last 26 games. Rosario, not all that much. Matt Olson, he's got 6 home runs, but he's only hitting 196 over his last 26 games. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's got 4 homers and 12 RBIs, but only hitting 237. So you would like for some guys to, pick it up a little bit. Dansby has been hitting great. 8 homers, 17 RBIs, hitting 252, 495 slugging. Michael Harris, he's been good. So I would like for some of these guys, Riley, Olsen, Acuna, to pick it up a little bit. But the Braves, they're very dangerous. I think they have as good of a shot at repeating than a lot of teams. I said the Dodgers a couple of years ago after 2020 because I thought with the Dodgers, I'm like, okay, they're coming off a 60-game season. This team is fresh, right? And then they couldn't do it last year. They couldn't do it. So the Braves this year, though, a very good team. A very good team. And I definitely think they could repeat this year. At number 2, I got the Houston Astros. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the Astros. I really do. The Astros, I think, are being slept on a little bit. It's weird. I haven't really heard anything about the Astros. But if you take a look here, 6 overall in offense this year. Over the last month, they are 4th. Look at the years. Did you know that Jose Altuve has been out of his mind this year? Do you know how good he's been? Look at Jose Altuve. Dude, he's hitting 300 with a 387 on base, a 533 slugging, a 164 WRC plus, 28 homers, 18 stolen bases. He's been really good. I haven't heard one thing about Jose Altuve this year. I've heard about Yordan Alvarez. You know? I haven't heard anything about Jose Altuve. My goodness, Bregman has been really good this year. He's back to being Alex Bregman. Maybe not quite the 2019 Alex Bregman, but very solid. And again, Yordan Alvarez, he's been just mashing the ball. I mean, my goodness, 37 home runs, 97 RBIs, a 613 slugging, a 185 WRC plus. Jeremy Pena, great defense out there, taking over Carlos Correa's job. Kyle Tucker, again, another underrated season. Look at the season that Kyle Tucker's having. He's got a 257 average, a 330 on base, a 478 slugging, but he's got 30 homers, 107 RBIs, 25 stolen bases. Kyle Tucker, man, this guy's been great. I'm a little bummed out that Michael Brantley's going to be out for the rest of this postseason. He's always a good on-base guy, but hey, I think they'll be fine without him. But the story here, Malik Brooks, $2 super chat. Where does Xander go in free agency? I hope he stays with the Red Sox. I could see Xander, if he goes elsewhere, I could see him going to a team like the Cubs, you know? I don't know why. It just looks right. I could see him in a Cubs jersey. I don't know why. But I'll go Cubs. I think they could use some offense at shortstop. Nico Horner, he definitely has had a good season offensively, but defense, he has definitely been, I would say he's been a better defensive player at shortstop than he has been offensively. He's good offensively, but he's been that good defensively. So maybe the Cubs could go the route. Maybe you could have Xander at short. Maybe you can move Madrigal somewhere, and you can move Horner to second. I don't know where you'd put Madrigal. I don't know. But I could see Bogarts to the Cubs. I hope he stays with the Red Sox, though. I think he will stay with the Red Sox. That's just me. But I don't know. Thank you for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. But the Astros, this offense is nasty. But the starting pitching is what we need to focus on here. Over the last 30 days, the Astros have had the best starting pitching. If we go take a look overall with the starting pitching, the Astros have had the best starting pitching all year. Let's just go pull up some numbers here. Houston. Here we go. Verlander, obviously, he's probably going to win the Cy Young, I would think. 18-4. He's got the numbers that the voters like. Some other pitchers have some better advanced numbers. But Verlander, I think he's going to win the Cy Young. Framber Valdez has been good. Christian Javier, good. Let me take that back with Framber Valdez. He's been really good. Very good. A 2.82 ERA, 3.05 FIP, 31 starts, a lot of innings. That's what I like about Verlander and Valdez, is they give you innings. That's what I like. You know, I think that's really underrated now. I want these guys to be throwing 6, 7, 8 innings. I miss that. I wish you still saw that in today's game. But Christian Javier, he's been solid for the most part. Luis Garcia, solid. I mean, come on. You know, Lance McCullers Jr., he's been pitching pretty well over the last month. You got so much starting pitching here. The bullpen has been really good. We're going to go take a look at the leaderboards. Over the last 30 days, Houston has the 4th best bullpen. You just got some guys here, man, that are just really good. I think Houston, honestly, I'll be honest with you. When it comes to this postseason bracket, U.S. veteran, $5 super chat. Xander would be a good fit in Seattle. Could you imagine another bat like that in that lineup? Oh, my goodness. Man, Xander in Seattle. Maybe. What do you do with J.P. Crawford? What do you do with him? Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Do appreciate that. But honestly, the Astros, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this isn't that much of a hot take when you think about it, but I think the Astros have a better shot of getting to the World Series than the Dodgers. I don't think that's too much of a hot take, to be completely honest, because that National League is stacked. But I can see Dodger fans disagreeing with that. I could definitely see that. No hate, Dodger fans. I come in peace. But I think the Astros, I think they have the easiest time out of each, when it comes to the number one seeds. I think the Astros absolutely can make it to the World Series. They're just good all the way around. I mean, what else is there to say? But at number one, I do have the Dodgers. Best record in the game. They're first in offense on the year, fourth in starting pitching on the year, first in relief pitching on the year. However, I'm going to point this out. Dodger fans, you're going to hate me for it. Let me actually close out of some of these. Let me talk about some good stuff first. How about that? Let me talk about some good stuff. I mean, my goodness. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, superstars. Holy cow, Freddie Freeman's been really good. Honestly, Freddie Freeman, I mean, I know if Goldschmidt wasn't as good as he was this year, man, Freeman would have, you would hear Freeman's name a lot more when it came to MVP. Hold on, let me actually pull this up. Where are they? Yeah, Freeman's just right. Actually, well, no, his, let me go pull up the live stats. So Freeman is at a 7.1 Fangraph WAR. And, but the difference with Goldschmidt is he has been the best offensive player in the National League. Freeman's been really good offensively, but not to the level of a Goldschmidt. I'll be honest with you. This might be a bit of a hot take to some of you. Maybe to most of you. I don't know. Arenado, I think, should get some consideration for MVP. I mean, if you take a look here, a 7.3 Fangraph WAR is actually better than Goldschmidt. But Arenado, obviously he's not putting up the numbers offensively. But man, his defense has been really good. Arenado has been such a good defensive player this year at third base. I don't think Arenado's going to win the MVP. I think Goldschmidt should win the MVP because he's been that good offensively. But Goldschmidt has also been a little cold over the last month. I'm just saying, I think Goldschmidt will win it, but don't be surprised if maybe Freeman gets votes. I mean, Freeman's been hot. He's been hot lately, so it'll be interesting. But the Dodgers, they got bats. The starting pitching, overall on the year, if we go to the full season, they're fourth overall in starting pitching on the year. 2.75 ERA, a 3.59 FIP. So if we look at the Dodgers when it comes to their starting pitching. So the guys that you're going to be going with here, you got Kershaw, you got Anderson, you got Urias, you got Gonsolin. Okay. Now, I'm going to pull this up. Now, let me show you the team stats over the last 30 days. Starting pitching, the Dodgers are 16th overall in the last 30. A 3.01 ERA is not bad, but that FIP at a 3.96, that's a little interesting. So, I've said this before. I'm not a huge fan of the Dodgers starting pitching in the postseason. I like Kershaw, but hey, we all know Kershaw. I love what Tyler Anderson has done this year, but can he do it in the postseason? I'm just wondering. Gonsolin, I don't think Gonsolin is really, he's definitely proven himself this year in the regular season, but I want to see it in the postseason. I'm just saying. I like the Dodgers starting pitching, but I don't know how much I do like it for the postseason. Just going to point that out. However, where I do like the Dodgers is their bullpen. Let me pull this up here. Bullpen has been really good for the Dodgers. He took Kimbrel out of the closer role. So, right now, I mean, Evan Phillips has been fantastic. Alex Vesia, awesome. Tommy Kahnle, hey, Tommy Kahnle's been back. He's been pitching well. Chris Martin, he's pitching well. Brusdar Graterol, doing well. You got a good bullpen here. Yency Almonte just came back. He'll be in middle relief. So, you know, the Dodgers, while I'm not the biggest fan of the starting pitching, I've mentioned this earlier, I think they do have enough starting pitching because that bullpen can be really good. So, the one thing with the bullpen, though, who is going to be the guy? Who is going to be the guy to get the saves? Who's going to be the guy at the end of the games? That's what I'm wondering. So now if we look over the last 30 days with the Dodgers bullpen. So saves have been kind of all over the place. You got Martin, Jackson, Kahnle, Graterol. David Price even got a save. Brule, and then Kimbrel had a save too. Who are you going to at the end of the game? That's what I'm wondering. Are you going to go with a closer by committee? You know? But when I'm looking at saves here, I mean, I don't know. Chris Martin, right now, he hasn't given up a run in his last 11 games. Evan Phillips hasn't either. He's been really good. Evan Phillips and Chris Martin both have good strikeout numbers. So I would imagine maybe one of them would be at the end. So I think it's just intriguing. It's just like, all right, who's going to settle into that role of being the guy to lock it down? It's a bit of a question mark, but the Dodgers are obviously very good. Amazing seasons in that lineup. You know, even guys like Justin Turner have been amazing this year. Just good talent all over this team, man. So the Dodgers, I think for me, you know, they have earned this number one spot by a mile. I mean, I think the Astros, they were coming on there a little bit at one point. I think the Dodgers, they've held firm to this number one spot. So I'm going to stick with the Dodgers in the number one position. We got a super chat coming in. Coca Cody, how you doing, my friend? Do the Dodgers need a guy? Do you mean like in the bullpen or like a starting pitcher? In the bullpen, I'm personally in the belief where I think you need a guy at the end of the game. I think you need to be able to turn to someone that you can just hand the ball to. Like, all right, this is your game to end it, right? Starting pitching, I would like for one of these guys to really step up for them, to be like that horse for them in the postseason. I do think you do need to have at least a guy or two, at least one guy, step up for you in the rotation and be that horse for you, right? You know, Anthony Hernandez, I see you, closer by committee. I'm not the biggest fan of closer by committee, to be completely honest. Why am I not a fan of it? Well, look what happened with the 2003 Red Sox. Didn't work out very well. So, you know, for the Dodgers, it's a little different in today's game, but I don't know. I'm still a little bit old-fashioned, man. I like having a closer. Here's the ball, man. Go win us the game, right? But yeah, I'm seeing a few of you say, you know, Evan Phillips for this bullpen. I mean, he definitely has the numbers for it. I would say him or Chris Martin, because those guys haven't really been giving up a lot of runs, and they get good strikeout numbers. So that's what I think. But everyone, those are my final power rankings for the 2022 season. I appreciate all of you coming out as much as you all have. We had a lot of new subscribers tonight. I want to thank you for subscribing to the channel. If anyone is still new, think about subscribing down below. Hit that like button for me on your way out. And share the stream too. And don't forget the bell notification, because I'm going to be going live quite a bit during the postseason. Again, for the live streams for the next month, usually I'm gonna wait until probably the last game is over. Depending on, you know, if it's like a West Coast game or whatnot, I might do a couple of watch-alongs for the postseason. So be on the lookout for those. We'll have to wait and see. Just with work and everything, it might be hard some nights. I mean, I've been just dying at work this year. So be on the lookout for those. But I'm going to do as many post games as I can, or reviewing all of the games from that day. And But yeah, look out for tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my predictions for tomorrow. I'm also going to be doing my awards at some point over the next couple of days. And I'm also going to react to my preseason predictions as well. So got a lot of content coming out, everyone. Got a lot of content. So everyone, I'm going to get out of here. You get out of here as well. Go get yourself some rest. We got some postseason baseball coming up. Hope you're all excited. I'm excited. But for now, I'm going to get out of here, and I'll talk to you next time.